Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review we are looking at the new Marvel Legends Spider-Girl. This is the May Parker version, I believe, and it is done pretty well for the most part. We've seen the body before. It is the one from the old Spider-Girl. She has new hands though, and she has what I believe are Black Widow stingers. I think those are the same ones we saw on the Hasbro Black Widow from a while back, but they might be new. I don't know. I suppose they're supposed to be like the little web shooter things. But either way, it looks pretty good. And for the most part, they did a good job. There are some issues, but we'll talk about that. She stands about 5 3/4 inches tall, so it's pretty good scaling, I suppose. Head sculpt is good. I like the shape of it. I like the paintwork for the most part, except my webbing in the center is off-centered, so that looks a little odd. And then she has some white paint on her cheek. Again, kind of odd. Not ideal. We have a hinge in the neck. The head does sit a little high on that peg. It's not too noticeable while it's straightforward. You can see it a little bit, but it's really noticeable when it leans back. It does afford better range of motion, but it's also not good because you can see that the head is just totally disconnected from the neck. So that's not ideal. This is probably the weakest of the bunch of this wave of figures, actually, because even Anti-Venom doesn't have problems like that. She has decent shoulder articulation, gonna have no problems posing that. Bicep swivel comes down here at the elbow, which is really frozen right now. There we go. No bicep swivel of the traditional sense. Wrists will swivel and hinge, so that's good. The diaphragm joint is still fairly limited. It's not bad. It works okay, it's just not great. The paint job on her webbing is mostly okay, but then you can see right there on her right boobage, there's a big black spot missing of the webbing, or of the spider, so that's not good. Most of it is good though, so I can't complain about it. That's probably not going to be a universal issue. Most of it looks pretty good. The hips, they go not all the way forward, but probably far enough. They don't go backwards too much. Side to side, pretty decent range. I think you'll be okay with that. Thigh swivels are fine. Double jointed knees, no problems. We have a shin swivel, which is okay, but it does ruin that paintwork. The red painted on the legs is super glossy and not nearly as well done as the rest of the figure. You can see down on the foot in particular, it's really choppy. It does not look good, and there's lots of smudges throughout. So I don't know why they had such a trouble painting the red, but they did. It's disappointing. It's not horrible, they mostly line up, it's just not great. And then for the ankles, we have that good ankle articulation we've seen before. Mine has a bunch of extra red just all over the place, at least on this leg, not on this leg, but we have some here, and it's just not very good. So this one's probably the most disappointing out of the bunch. It's still not horrible. Once you get it posed in a decent pose, you should be okay. It's just, there's a lot of little issues that could have been a lot better on this figure. It's still not bad, and I still kind of like it because they really did a good job with the white eyes. They stand out, they're not sloppy, that looks good. And then most of the rest of the figure looks good too. So it's not great, but it's definitely not bad. So I guess I do technically have to recommend it. I will pose it and show you guys at the end of the video so you can see it in action. But I do think you'll probably end up liking it. So check out Big Bad Toy Store. That's where I got this, and that's where I get a lot of my stuff. And I do recommend the store because they have really good customer service, and they carry just about all of the imports I want and all of the other domestic figures and things like that. So check them out, and make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.